After making my last 3 silver and gold ratio videos on cattle and sheep for popular demand, I've spent the last 3 days researching land to silver and gold and the historical ratios. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you're a silver or gold stacker, or you just like stacking up the acreage, stay tuned, because I was shocked with what I learned from the land, productive farmland to silver and gold ratios. So let's start off with a little background. My first ever ratio video was on gold to 1 ounce of gold to 1 productive cow, and how throughout history that ratio has, within reason, maintained itself. Today, for 1 ounce of gold, you can still get a productive cow. And then we tried silver to sheep, and that seemed to be really popular. And what we discovered from the silver to sheep ratio is that historically, either silver is really cheap or sheep are very expensive. And I think the sheep are about fair value and the silver is cheap. And the ratio, if you go back to historical norms, you come up with about a $600 an ounce silver price in today's dollars. Then we did silver to cow ratio. And the same kind of thing was shocking, that if you value silver to cow historically, right now the price of silver should be around $571. And from those videos, we got all kinds of comments, and a lot of people were asking for farmland to silver and gold ratio. So that's what we're gonna do. In this video, we've done both the historic silver and the historic gold ratios for productive farmland. Let's start with silver. The issue I ran into with trying to find historical values for acres of land is that, you know, in Europe, in the medieval time and going back, land really, it was more of gifted from royalty to lords and dukes. So it was really hard to find a value. So I stuck with here in the United States, starting in 1800. And in 1800, give or take, again, you know, this could vary, but according to the USDA, land per acre was $10. And in 1800, the average cost of an ounce of silver was $1.28. So that means it took 7.8 ounces of silver in the 1800s to purchase an acre of land. Now, in the early 1900s, an acre of productive farmland was $20, and an ounce of silver had dropped a little bit to $1. So you do the ratio, 20 ounces of silver got you an acre of land in the early 1900s. Fast forward to 1970. You know, 1970 is when Nixon took us off the gold standard. Gold and silver prices kind of went crazy, and the average for the 1970s productive farm ground was $196 an acre. The average price for silver for those years was $1.77. So the price, or silver ounce per acre, skyrocketed to 110 ounces of silver to buy an acre of ground in the 70s. Fast forward to today, 2026. According to the USDA, last year, the average price for farm ground was around $5,000. Silver today it's moving crazy. Let's say it's $90. So that's 55 ounces of silver per acre. A lot better than in the 70s, but still, historically, from the 1800s, seems a little high. So what I did is I averaged the ounces to acres over that time period, and it came out the average was 48 ounces of silver per acre. What does that mean in today's dollars? That would be a $104 silver price. That really shocked me. I thought it was going to be more in line with the cattle and sheep, that it was going to tell us that silver should be $600 an ounce. But according to the average cost, according to the USDA for acres, and then the historical price of silver, right now we're pretty close, within 10, 20 bucks of the ratio for acres to silver. take it for what it's worth. Now that we know what silver's telling us, what's gold telling us? This was probably the most shocking from all my research. In the 1800s, you guessed it, 1 ounce of gold bought you 1 acre. In the 1900s, same deal. Gold was about $20 an ounce. An acre was about $20. Same kind of thing. 1 gold coin, 1 ounce of gold bought you 1 productive farm acre. 1970 was crazy 10 years, but the average overall gold for productive farm ground was $200 an acre. And the average price for gold, $200, 1 to 1. Today, here in the great state of northern Arkansas, you can buy nice pasture ground for $5,000 an acre. Look at the gold price, it's $5,000 an acre. Without fail, from the 1800s here in the US to today, on average, 1 ounce of gold bought you 1 ounce, or 1 ounce of gold bought you 1 acre of productive farm ground. I was shocked by that the ratio stayed the same that whole time, and today it's right there, right at 1 to 1. So before we get to the conclusion, what these ratios mean, I want to have a little disclaimer. I know for a fact, I just bought some ground in southern Missouri and paid $4,000 an acre for it last year. And it's not the greatest productive farm ground, but it's decent. And I know my in-laws live in central Illinois, and an acre of productive farm ground there goes for well over $20,000 an acre. So before you blow up the comment section with, I live in South Dakota and I can get an acre of pasture for $500, or I live in Iowa and it's $30,000 per acre, I understand this isn't an exact science. This is just a rancher out here with his sheep and cows thinking about ratios. And so according to the USDA, that's where I got all the figures for the average price of land. And going back on the silver and gold charts, just made up those ratios. That's where it came from. I didn't make these numbers up. I just researched them and found them out. So please don't be offended. Please don't criticize too much. I think these videos with the cattle and the sheep are just really enlightening, and I've had a ton of fun making them. So thank you for following along, and thanks for all the comments, by the way. So what's this rancher's 2 cents? What's my takeaway from the land to silver and gold ratio? I was really surprised, especially with the silver and the gold, that we were about even. That historically, the price of silver should be about $104 if you go off of a $5,000 acre, and the price of gold is right there. So does that mean I think you should sell all your silver and gold? That's up to you. But for me, what it encouraged me is that in the future, when the ratio for silver to an acre drops below 30 or down to 20 ounces per acre, I think I'm gonna be really encouraged to start cashing in some silver and buying land. And the same with the gold. I don't have much gold, but if I did, and you could start getting 2 or 3 acres for an ounce of gold, I think that's what you need to take away from this. That these ratios throughout history do fluctuate, but right now it appears that silver and land, or gold and land, are about equal. They're about where they have been throughout history. I hope this was interesting. I appreciate so much all the kind comments I've been getting. This series has been so much fun to make. I'm still trying to figure out the chicken to copper. That one has been really hard to find any hard data on. But if you have any more gold or silver ratios to hard farm assets, I would love to research it and make a video. From here in the Ozarks and the Katahdin hair sheep, we appreciate you all watching, your subscriptions, and all the likes and the comments. Keep them coming, and we'll talk to you again next time. For what it's worth, that's the silver and gold ratios compared to productive farmland. Take care.